Yeah, moving along. So any final words? No? Okay. So with that, I'd like to invite Tracey Michell to come up to the... And Sandra, would you mind coming up as well? Sandra Isaac. So Tracey is our CSFS Senior Policy Analyst in Project Development, and she's going to provide her report back to community on the work that she's been doing. So thank you, Tracey. With that, I'll leave it to you.
Good morning. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territory of Lake Leeton Nation, and thank you, Barb, for the opening prayer. My work in the last... Oh, I have to do it myself. How do Jordan, where do I point this to change it? This way? Oh my, this is not working. I think that's a good idea. Can we move the slide then? There we go. So I did submit a report in the AGA booklet. If you want to have a look at it, it's from page 14 to 17. And I just want to let you know, I'm sure you already know that our primary consultant is Unison Architecture from Vancouver, BC. He's been working with us for the last couple of years in terms of project design and development. This is the layout of the building. It's located out at Tachick Lake Resort, which is on the traditional territory of Saikas. And you'll notice the orange buildings on the slide, and that's the different buildings that will be on the property. And it's actually designed like the healing hand, the logo of Carriacou County Family Services. We have a detox unit which will have 10 beds. The treatment facility will have 35 beds. And as well, we'll have two other structures, a greenhouse as well as a workshop. And the little gray buildings on the left side, those are the existing cabins. And that's the approach for those buildings, is to really use it as a continuum care. So if an individual needs to go to treatment or to detox and treatment, and they may require additional supports, then those cabins would be available for aftercare. And as well, we want to use some of those facilities for our professional staff. So this is the layout here that we've come up with. And I think the idea is to really take advantage of the location and the water. So all the buildings the windows are facing towards the water. The next slide, please. So we didn't get here by ourselves. We've partnered with a lot of funders, as well as our technical and operational team. We have external and internal partnerships. As Warner mentioned, our major funders is the First Nations Health Authority, as well as Indigenous Services Canada. And we did get additional funds from the Minister of Health and Northern Healthy Community Funds. In the last year, we also partnered with First Nations Health Authority to have a project consultant work with us they'll help us work with all the technical components in the development of our treatment center. And the successful person was Core Project Management, and they've been really helping us utilize and review all of the technical equipment, the technical designs and reviews from Unison Core Management. And we've been successful in terms of creating two different internal working teams. One is the technical team and one is the operational team. So we've been able to advance not only the design of the building and how it's going to be laid out, but also the operations, so that the building is going to be fully operational and utilized. And the most important element for this is the participation of our elders. Our elders have been involved in looking at the design and the usage of the building and the layout, and also the appearance of the building itself, and making sure that we incorporate all of our Indigenous designs and that it represents all of our 11 member nations. Here's just the preliminary schedule that was initially developed in our document 6 with our Unison architect. There's like 4 major stages: the feasibility study, design, construction, and the occupancy. And you can see that originally we were supposed to be completed by 2023, but last year we reported the delay we had with establishing the property, because we had to have a long discussion, like a 9-month period where we had to discuss with the Agricultural Land Commission in terms of trying to transfer the property as non-farm use. So we were successful, and that was a significant delay on our initiative. This is just a timeline. Like I mentioned, the major development we had is our design team, our design component. The design area was very significant in terms of trying to finalize the operations of the CSFS and the treatment center. It was very important because we wanted to make sure that we made sure that all of the offices were laid out properly. The service delivery program is going to be functioning according to the design of the program and services. We wanted to make sure that this was done in a very detailed and technical approach. We had all parties involved. We had not only our mental health team, Ministry of Health, and First Nations Health Authority to review our design, because we wanted to make sure that we didn't have to go back and redesign things after we started construction, because then we'll enter into a significant cost for that. Right now, like Warner mentioned, our major focus right now is to really finalize our budget. We're at Class C estimates right now, and we'll get a better idea once we advance to our Class B estimates, and that won't happen until December. And to help us through this initiative, we're looking at hiring a construction manager, and this position will more than likely be filled in November, December. We did start, through the construction process, we went through a 2-phase process. Phase 1 was for the, how many minutes is that? 2 minutes. I couldn't see the 2 minutes, but thank you. So phase 1, we started with the civil construction. So what that means is we started that in October. So we looked at all the mechanical and electrical requirements for the layout of the building, and then the initial groundbreaking will be phase 2. And as Warner mentioned, that's not going to be anticipated until April, May next year, 2023. This is just some images of the construction of the civil work that has happened right now. We expect that this would be completed by the end of this month or November. So really, our objective is to keep that. When we're working with Unison, we have like at least meetings once or twice a month, and our operations team, they meet monthly as well to review, and we align all of our operations and technical development. So it's constant, and also on top of that, there's additional meetings that we have to have with our funders to keep them informed about the changes in the budget. As we advance, our meetings will increase with our funders as we advance from Class C to Class B. And we know that we're going to be facing some issues with COVID, with the supply and demand, as Warner had mentioned, and then also the local labor force. I think it's an ongoing thing in the north. And what that means, if we have a challenge for our local labor force, is if we have to go outside of our area, that means we're going to pay more for accommodation and travel. And of course, northern weather conditions. And just to let you know too, we included a special report on the treatment center, and that's on page 15 to 17. And with that in mind, on page 16, we really want to acknowledge our Ormond Lake, where we offer seasonal services there, and we want to acknowledge and recognize the Notley-Wooddan community and leadership, because we've been able to provide our seasonal services in that area. And we want to also recognize the board of directors and the leadership and our staff for their dedication, and particularly the elders. We've had Marilyn, Antoine, Helen, Michelle, and Mabel Louie as our cultural advisors, who've been continuously involved in our work as we continue to meet and advance our discussions. And also communications would like to let you know that they're going to be providing more information to you at an increased level as we proceed. Masai.